that. Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, and evening to our valued audience and speakers for those who just joined now. Welcome to the highly anticipated YALDA webinar. We will be focusing on women and girls, and especially the main focus of today will be rights, equality, and empowerment. My name is Eustacia Lucy. I am the YALDA international person, and it is my pleasure to moderate today's session. I'd like us to go through some etiquettes before we start the webinar. Can you kindly pull that up, Valencia? Thank you very much. When you're in the webinar, I would like you to kindly remain muted throughout the webinar and ensure that your camera is off. As that's expensive in Africa, we all know that. And kindly type in your question or comment in the chat box and also put in your name and where you come from. Those questions or comments that will be selected, we will ask you to unmute yourself and then introduce yourself and also indicate to us where you're coming from. I believe those will be our etiquettes and we'll have to abide by them. I believe that you understand them very well. Thank you. This year's International Women's Day theme calls for action that can unlock equal rights, power, and opportunities for all, and the feminist future where no one is left behind. Central to this vision is empowering the next generation youth, particularly young women and adolescent girls, as catalysts for lasting change. In that very same line, YALDA is bringing together youthful speakers, creating social change from across Africa. To discuss the theme of today, which is for all women and girls, we focus on rights, equality, and empowerment. The speakers will share their views and insights, therefore creating a progressive path toward emancipation of African women. I would like to recognize amongst us Dalton Odemba, which is from Kenya, Bello Bature from Nigeria, Juma from Kenya, Donna Chepngetich from Kenya, Ben from Tunisia, Joseph Koffi from Liberia, Boyoma from Democratic Republic country, Liza from Kenya, Milton Zunguze from Mozambique, Munyaradzi from Sisimai from Zimbabwe, Ruth, she's also from Zimbabwe, and Sobhy Waheed from the UAE, and also the curator, which is Sagzola Bulani, she is from South Africa. As we begin this exciting webinar, I'd like everyone to type in their name and the country they're coming from in the chat box. Kindly do that so that you can see where you're joining us from and who you are. Today we'll be joined by 6 speakers. Powerful women are amongst us today. And the speaker from today is Ruth Omobe. She's a climate mobility youth advocate and development practitioner all the way from Kenya. We also have amongst us Precious Tamia Ruyan. She's a woman empowerment advocate, well, I can say champion, and she is from South Africa. Following her is Abigail Obese. She's a social development officer from Ghana. We also have Dr. Eli Cheng. She's a chief Anyamu Utu. She's a thought leader, a change agent, and a bridge builder from the USA and West Africa. We further have Suad Atia Keshout. She's the YALDA multimedia writing team member from Libya. Last but not least, as a speaker, we have Soma Jie. She's a corporate, or one should say, creative mindset coach, a philanthropist, and a rights activist from Gambia. I believe that our audience is still writing their names and come from in the chat box. As I have indicated earlier, this theme calls for action that can unlock equal rights, power, and opportunities for all, and a feminist future where no one is left behind. And I indicate that central to this vision is empowering the next generation youth, particularly young women and adolescent girls, as catalysts for lasting change. This is for you now, our dear leaders and speakers, in your own perspective and opinion. How can this be achieved? And what framework should be in place to accelerate this vision? If Dr. Eileen Cheng, she is a chief Anyuma Ututa, thought leader and change agent and a bridge builder from USA and West Africa, I would like you to take this opportunity and respond, Doc, as I indicated, in your own perspective. I'll repeat that, and opinion. How can this be achieved? And what framework should be in place to accelerate this vision? Over to you, Dr. Cheng. Let's just give it 2 minutes. If she's easier, she'll unmute herself and share a few words with us. I think she's not yet amongst us, and we'll hand it over to Soma Njie. She's a corporate creative mindset coach, a philanthropist, and rights activist from Gambia. Over to you, Ms. Njie.
Oh, marvelous. Thank you so much. What a lovely surprise and a wonderful opportunity to be joining everyone here today. Hello. I'm really, really proud to be part of such a wonderful International Women's Day event here from my native Gambia, joining my fellow Pan-Africans. As a mindset coach and formally, well, I say formally, but I'm still a lawyer, but my main drive in this part of my journey is as a mindset coach, is that, of course, we as women here in Africa and girls can see ourselves in our identity, are comfortable with who we are in our own skin, so that we can then start being able to move forward in ways that are powerful, meaningful, and effective. That equity is something that we talk about and we take quite lightly, in that all studies, or most of the studies that we've looked at in recent years, have shown just how much of the informal economy and formal economy that women are contributing to. And this is my let's say, my hill to die on when it comes to these things, that we need a mindset change to reestablish correct ways to a certain responsibility for our social standing, and to have that self-confidence and vision to be able to see ourselves in the future, and therefore be able to see that future where we're given a fair chance to move our entire continent forward. So
Thank you very much. I like the fact that you added that one needs to be comfortable with who they are. And that's from that, one definitely can gather self-confidence regardless of what life throws at them. That's a very powerful statement right here. Thank you very much. Following Ms. Njie, we would like Ms. Ruth Korube Omebe, climate mobility youth advocate and development practitioner from Kenya. Over to you, Ms. Omebe.
Hope you can see me now.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. So, pardon the question again.
Should I repeat that for you?
Yes, please.
There you go, on the screen. This year's theme calls for action that can unlock equal rights, power and opportunities for all, and a feminist future where no one is left behind. Central to this vision is empowering the next generational youth, particularly young women and adolescent girls, as catalysts for lasting change. In your perspective and opinion, how can this be achieved, and what frameworks should be in place to accelerate this vision?
Good. So yeah, as a youth advocate on climate mobility and also migration and displacement, I believe that dismantling systemic barriers that limit the potential and ensuring equal access to education, economic opportunities, and healthcare and leadership positions can work towards girls and women empowerment. So basically, these will help equipping women and girls with the knowledge and skills, resources, and opportunities to make informed decisions about their lives and contribute meaningfully to the society. So yeah, that's it from my side.
Thank you very much. Following her, it will be Mrs. Dr. Lynn is in our midst. Is Dr. Lynn here with us now? I would like to call upon Dr. Eileen Cheng. She's a Chief Anyumu Ututa, a thought leader, a change agent, and a bridge builder. She's from the USA and also from West Africa. Over to you, Doc. We'll come
Hi,
back.
everybody. I'm sorry about the a little delayed. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Can you see me? Can you see me?
Not as yet. Not as yet. Very
Okay.
can you pull down the share?
Okay, no problem. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on my. Oh, well, I'm trying to turn on my camera, but it seems like there's a little technical glitch here. But I will try to fix it. Anyway, I'm very happy that I'm here. It's an absolute honor to join you all today for this important International Women's Day celebration hosted by YALDA. And I'm deeply grateful to be part of the global conversation that centers the voices, rights, and power of women and girls everywhere. For this year's theme, for all women and girls, rights, equality, and empowerment, it's not just a slogan, it's a call to action. A reminder that while we come a long way, the journey toward true equity and justice remains urgent, especially for those at the margins. As a woman who walks in multiple worlds, as a professional, a mother, a daughter of two continents, I carry with me the stories of resilience, courage, and vision from women across the African diaspora and beyond. I'm not sure if the organizer have talked to you a bit about my background, but I'm the founder of the African Youth Diaspora Organization, I should say co-founder. And I'm also a member of parliament for the state of African diaspora, the vice president of the parliament for Asian Pacific region. So I've been working in the space for quite a while already. But today I'm speaking not just for myself, but alongside millions of girls still waiting for access to education, safety, healthcare, and opportunity. I also believe that empowerment must be more than just a word. It must translate into actions, action that dismantle systemic barriers, action that amplifies voices often silenced, and action that builds inclusive platforms where no woman or girl is left behind. I hope today sparks not only inspiration, but commitment from each of us to keep pushing boundaries, rewriting narratives, and standing together. Because when women rise, communities thrive. When girls lead, the world listens. So thank you. I'm looking forward to our shared dialogue and dreams today.
Thank you very much, Sokcha. I like how you indicated that your experience, your history, you take it along wherever you go. And it's very important for us to be aware of that as also. And what you also indicated, action and implementation thereof, we just shouldn't just be talking. We need to ensure that action is taken and implementation is also executed. Thank you very much, Doc. We'll be followed by Abigail Obese. She's a Social Development Officer from Ghana. Over to you, Mrs. Obese. We can't hear you as yet.
Hello.
Now I can hear you.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You may continue.
Yeah, hello.
You are cutting a bit, I think. Can you talk now?
Yeah, I can talk, please.
Okay. Can you
Yeah.
hear me?
So I feel highly honored to be part of this important session today. And hello.
Yes, we can hear you. You can continue.
Yeah, I feel highly honored to be part of this important session today. And we discussing International Women's Day. I believe women empowerment is about creating an environment where women have equal opportunities in all aspects of life, education, employment, decision-making, and personal growth. It involves breaking down barriers like gender discrimination and giving women more opportunities, educating women, breaking stereotypes, economic independence, and a lot. So I'm happy to be part of this session today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you with us today. Our next speaker will be Precious Tamia Van Rooyen. She's a woman empowerment advocate, a champion. One can say she's a champion, and she is from South Africa. Over to you, Precious. Ms. Van Rooyen.
Good evening. Am I audible enough?
Good evening. Yes, you're audible.
How are we doing today? Sorry, I'm just having a bit of difficulties with my camera. However, to answer your question in terms of how can we achieve our framework, I strongly believe that, a sacred space should be created for women. In terms of the working environment, all women should be treated equally. So we should all have equal positions for women without anyone feeling pressurized and without anyone being biased. And as the previous speaker said, that, action should be taken into place. So implementation, if your growth is, if in an organization they can see that you have the ability to grow, they shouldn't hinder your success. Just because a woman, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't get a certain position or you shouldn't be where you want to be because of your gender. And I believe that women, we need to set an example, and we need to lead by example by making sure that women know their worth and knowing that they are worth it, and stability. That's all that matters to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I like the words that you used. Safe spaces. We need to make sure that also the environment that we're in is safe for us. We need to be created safe spaces that are suitable for us. Thank you very much, Precious. The following speaker is Ud Ati here. Cash loud.
Yeah, hello, I'm here.
She's a YALDA multi writer and member from Liberia. Over to you, Ad.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. It's not good morning now, it's good evening. My name is Suarati Akashlut. I'm from Libya. I'm an English language teacher and trainer and the YALDA monitor. I work with the teachers and young people to help improve education and empower for the next generation. I'm also a member of YALDA's multimedia writing team, where I contribute to youth empowerment. Okay, I'm also working with the Women Council in Liton. Actually, I'm very obsessed, or I have a passion for a woman's right and education. I believe the power of a knowledge to create a change. I'm honored to be here today, celebrating women and discussing how we can support African women. I look forward to learning from all of you and sharing you our ideas. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I like the fact that, speakers are coming from different perspectives. It's about being aware of who you are. It's about equality. It's about being in a safe space, being created, and importantly, as women in general, is when those who came before us come along with their history and experience in this environments that we come in. And I believe that as women, we need to be aware of ourselves, as important as also be mindful. The problem is that sometimes we tend to really think low of ourselves, and we are a powerhouse. It's very important to know that you can do this, and we are doing it and breaking the glass ceiling effect. And yes, as I continue with my questions, this is directed to Dr. Eli Cheng. Thank you very much. This question now is directed to Dr. Eli Cheng.
Okay, go ahead, please. Hello? I'm sorry, I cannot hear you.
Sorry. Dr. Eli Cheng, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
As a thought leader, change agent, and a bridge builder based in West Africa, what are the gender equality challenges that you have identified in the region? Based on your experience and life in the USA, what are the cultural differences depicted, and how does that impact gender equality in both these places? Let's take a scenario of a young girl from Nigeria who is unhappy about her marriage. She wants education opportunity, and also how other women stand up and combat the abuse of culture. How would you advise this young girl on building her own nonprofit organization?
That's a lot of, well, those are very valid questions. If you don't mind, would you mind to, I heard 3 questions and each of them are very loaded, is very loaded. So could you repeat those questions just one by one so that I can break it down?
Yes, can you see the screen? They are on the screen. The question is shared on the screen.
Yes. Let me see.
You see it now?
Yes, 1 second. Let me. Okay. All right. Let me see. Yes, I can see the question. As I thought, the gender equality challenges that you have identified in the region. In West Africa, you're saying. Okay, so to answer that first question, what I have observed is there's still not a very homogeneous or unified way to address poverty rates of women. For example, different ethnicity, like between the Yoruba, I mostly work in Nigeria, so I'm going to cite some of the ethnicity that I work in Nigeria. So, for example, the Muslim in the north, the Hausa, and then the Igbo, and then the Yoruba, they all have kind of different ways to address property rights, and that can be very detrimental for. I've heard stories time and time again about how when the husband passed away, the family of the husband would come and trying to repossess the property, even though the mother and the children do still live there. I just felt that left me a very strong impression, because I feel that if a single mother, I'm a single mother myself actually, and having have a single mother raise all these children and not have a stable place to stay, and then having to fight over the house they live in is very destabilizing for the growth of children. And that's one thing that I want to say that really stands out. But there's also I know there's some cultural complexity to that. I understand that, for example, in the West, we have a lot of we believe that it's important to cultivate oneself first before you get a chance to really cultivate others. Like, you have to love yourself first before you have that love to love others. So what does that mean? What does it translate to? It translates to a lot of our women, they have children later in life because they will finish their education, they will really grow their career, and then they have financial stability and independence. So when they come together and form a family, it becomes a family with multiple contributors financially. And so it's not as jeopardizing in the case of, like what I just said, if, say, the husband passed away and then is left with the mother with children, and if they have no support, it just become a very unstable situation. So that's kind of what I have observed. Of course, I have also observed, because I've been to West Africa several times. I have also observed, my fiance is actually Nigerian, and I have also observed that there are many children that does not really have proper educational channel to make sure that they are culture, like they are nurtured and be able to have a skill where they can depend on for financial stability. So these are some of the challenges that I have observed. And I'm going to go back to the second question. I'm trying to figure out how to do that. All right. Yeah, could you please, help
Let
me
me share
to...
the screen again, Lensha. Pull up. Thank you.
Yeah. So the second question I have, I see, is based on my experience in life in the USA. What are the cultural differences depicted, and how does that impact gender equality in both of these places? I'm not quite sure what the question is, but from what I gather, do you want to elaborate that question a little bit so that I can, to be precise about my answer?
Yes, abuse in basically focus on the experience about that.
Yes,
And
the cultural difference
the
depicted.
cultural differences you've highlighted on that. And basically, this was 3 questions breaking down into 3 questions, right? You identify the challenges, also indicated the impact in those places. So what you are left with now is a scenario of a young girl from Nigeria who is unhappy. You tackle basically 2 questions in your answer. So now the last question is the scenario of a young girl from Nigeria who is unhappy about her abusive marriage, and she wants educational opportunities and also to empower other women to stand up and combat the abusive culture. How would you advise this young woman on building a non-profit organization?
Right. So I'm still trying to respond to the second question, but that's okay. We can all tie that together. Oops, I I can't see the screen again. Please, can you show that screen one more time? Yeah, about the question.
Yes.
So the question I see here is based on my life in the USA, the cultural difference. To be honest, I just got off a meeting with a friend of mine, and then we're talking about creative industry investments. And he was talking about, he was in Hollywood, and he's an African diaspora. His name is Chike, and he's actually the founder of the Silicon Valley Film Festival, African Film Festival. And he has been doing that for the last 15 years. And I was just he said one time he was in Hollywood, and he was sitting down with the presidents for the Paramount Studio, of course, which has a really long history of filmmaking. And he actually got a chance to showcase them about African history. And they were all very surprised, because that's really the first time they saw Africa, from its authentic perspective, because most of, I'm not sure if some of you have watched the film Wakanda. It is kind of like a mumbo jumbo of different elements of what the world thing of Africa is, and then you're just gonna put a, sci-fi, technical, epic film together. So there's still a lot of misunderstanding about Africa and Africans, and of course African diaspora as well. And this is one of the reasons why I created Lens of Africa, and then also really, promote the creative industry investments to really tell our own stories. And how does that affect the way, see, media is a tool where we express ourselves, where we tell our story. So even right now, say in Nollywood, there's a still certain stereotype, and I feel like we can actually, if we are part of the creative process, we'll be able to tell the story and inspire people the way we want them to be inspired.
Okay.
So I hope that kind of answers your question. Would you mind to show me the questions again, because I want to make sure that I stay just on the course.
Okay, no, I think that covers a lot. And
Okay.
if there's, yes, I think we're covered. If there's question, comments, our audience can type it in the chat box. And then our second speaker.
I'm sorry, can I also touch on the nonprofit organization, if you don't mind?
Okay, 1 minute for no problem.
Yes, 1 minute. So I want to say that being in an abusive relationship is not unique to Africa. I am myself a victim of abusive marriage. So I feel like I have a little bit more right than others to speak on this topic. The first thing that we need to know is, before you even think about, opening, like starting a nonprofit organization, you got to make sure that you're okay, right? So you want to make sure that when people are in an abusive relationship, the first thing is the family has to come to support the woman, and the woman themselves need to know that they are not the one who's doing wrong, because violence or abusive language is never okay. No matter what, you don't bear the burden of the aggressor. That's the first thing you need to know before you, and then from there you need to learn how to love yourself. You love yourself, you educate yourself, you spend resources on yourself. Okay. And once that's done, when you can build yourself up, then you can start talking about, okay, how do we help other people, the non-profit organization. And it has to be something that you're passionate about. And one of the best way to promote your organization and get funding is to tell your story. Okay, just relate to other people, tell your story, because without trust, you can't, trust is actually the most important resource that anybody have, the capital anybody have. With trust, you will be able to attract the funding that you need to support the nonprofit organization, and that's fundamental. So that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I like the fact that you started with indicating that one needs to love themselves, and you also ending with the very same note that this NPO or NGO that you want to start, you need to make sure that you love yourself, and also you must tell your story. It must have an impact on you and also on the next person. Thank you for that. Very powerful. Our next speaker, our next question will be directed to Abigail Obese. To you, speaker, Africa is a continent with diversity and beautiful cultures. Some of these cultures hinder the progress of many women. What do you think can be done when there is a conflict between culture and the person's best interest? How can you advocate for women empowerment in these vulnerable African countries like Nigeria and Chad that constitute child marriages and deny young girls of education? As someone from Ghana, please share with us any challenges you have faced as a woman and how did you overcome these challenges? over to you. Ms. Obese. Kindly unmute yourself.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Continue. Unmuted. Yeah, you can unmute. Please unmute yourself. You're muted. Thank you.
Hello. So, thank you for the question. Africa is a continent with diversity and beautiful cultures, but some of these cultures hinders the progress of many women. So where there is a conflict between one's culture and personal interests, there are a lot of factors that one needs to consider. Hello?
You are still audible. We can still hear you. You may continue.
So where one culture conflicts with one's interest, there are some factors one have to consider. Let's say you have to reflect on yourself, like self-reflection, understand the interest. Is it important to you? And how does it conflict with the cultural background? Yeah, so you need to have a reflection on yourself to see if which of them benefits you more. Is it your personal interest, or is it your culture? And culture is dynamic. So sometimes you have to compromise and look for ways to balance both. Can you pursue your interest while respecting your cultural background? So you need to also educate yourself, learn more about both perspectives. Sometimes the cultural norms are flexible and evolving, and understanding your origin can help in finding a middle background. So I think you have to also educate yourself. That's so you need to have a self-reflection, and you need to educate yourself, and you also need to compromise sometimes, especially looking at both perspectives. And also you need to have an open communication. If possible, discuss your interest with family, community members, friends.
I think you might be having connectivity issues there. I cannot hear anything. Or is it from my side? I think there's connectivity issues from Ms. Obise's side. Can she come in again? Okay, we'll go to the next speaker. I like the fact that indicates that we need to balance the two between our culture and our best interests and ensure that, I love the fact also that culture changes, it adapts. It's not that stringent to change. As evolve over the few years, as you can also see from the 50s to 100 years ago, we tend to adapt because unfortunately things change. So one needs to balance between your culture and interest, and also open communication, as indicated, is very important. You need to communicate also your interest, and that you balance the two. You're a very cultural person and also want your best interest at heart. Thank you about that. Our next speaker is Precious Tamia van Rooyen. Precious, do you think that striving for women empowerment rights should be done only by women, or should both genders,
Am I old enough?
male and female, involved in playing the role? As someone from a country with a high rate of gender-based violence, what does gender equality mean to you? Thinking about the experience you have had, how can we empower women to be powerful leaders in our society? Yes, okay, no, then you can come in, Mrs. Rooyen.
Good day. Am I audible enough?
Yes, you are.
Okay, so with the first question, I said striving for women empowerment and rights should be done by both genders, being both males and females, as both genders should be playing their roles respectively. And then with your second question, as you said, as someone from a country with a high rate of gender-based violence, what does gender equality mean to you? So to me, I'm from South Africa, as I mentioned, and I think everybody knows that in South Africa that we've got a high number of gender-based violence. During COVID, our president, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, actually said that gender-based violence is actually our second pandemic, which is true. On a daily basis, women get killed by their partners, and now the roles have changed because now it's known and it's stated that women are also killing men. So for me, gender equality means that both males and females are equal, despite of the sex, the race, and they should have the right to work at any work form, at any environment, despite the department, the environment. Everybody should be treated equally. You are allowed to work at any country and in any province. There should be no limitations to say that only a specific gender, specifically men, can be general managers, can be CEOs. Women should be seen as CEOs. Women should be general managers of companies. Women should be, they should be seen as CEOs, as bosses, as anything else. And then in terms of the right to be treated equally and fairly, I don't only think that women should be treated right and equally and fairly. I feel like it's a both way. Respect is both way. And as much as I can respect you, you need to respect me, and it should be vice versa. It doesn't mean that as a man that you need to take advantage of me because you are superior, you've got it all. In terms of dignity is something that is earned. People respect you for who you are. So the way you conduct yourself, the way you treat yourself is how people will respect you. If you do not conduct yourself in a proper manner, in a right manner, people will not respect you for who you are. You will lose your dignity. If you do something that is out of path, that is out of way, people will lose their value, and your dignity, your reputation will literally get ruined and will be down the drain. In terms of industries, especially in the mining industry, certain industries are only known for male, they're known as male-dominating industries. So when it comes to mining, I feel like there should be no limitations. Women should be allowed to be working in mining sectors. And when it comes to law as well, back then, the law was known for men only, but now women are taking over. Women have the right to stand up for themselves. Women should be dominating. It shouldn't be seen that only men should be lawyers. In terms of fashion as well, fashion is known as a womanly business. Womanly business, it doesn't mean that other men shouldn't be seamstress, they shouldn't be fashion designers. As we said, we should all be treated equally and fairly. Going to the third question, as you had asked, it's thinking about the experience that I've had. How can we empower women to be powerful leaders in the society? So personally, I think we should empower women to be powerful leaders by taking accountability and by standing up for one another. By standing up for one another, women should be vocal. They need to speak up. If they are abused or harassed, the first thing they should do, if it happens in a working environment, if you get abused, whether it's verbally, sexually, or mentally, the first steps that you should really take is going to your superior, whether it's your human resource manager. You should confide in your human resource manager because there are rules and regulations that are put into a workplace, a code of conduct. If your rights get violated at your working environment, the first thing I would advise you to do is to go to HR, tell HR what has happened, and see what measures do they take. If the organization doesn't do anything about it, then secondly, I would really encourage anybody, both males and females, to actually go to the police services. In South Africa, they're known as SAPS, the South African Police Services. So for me, I really don't believe in keeping quiet, because keeping quiet, you're only shielding the perpetrator, and you're shielding the perpetrator, but you're hurting yourself. So if anything happens, sometimes these things happen on social media. Yes, people don't think, or people don't know that social media is used as a form of evidence. But if someone sends you something that's inappropriate on WhatsApp, you have the right to open up a case against them. If someone sends you inappropriate videos, or you just do not give them consent to talk to you in a certain manner, you can actually open up a case against them. Use that evidence that that person has done to you, or whatever they said to you. You can go to the police station and say, excuse me, sorry, Officer Warren, this is what I've encountered. Open up a sexual harassment case to say that this is what I've encountered, and take the leap of faith and the actions going forward, because you keeping quiet, you don't know what has happened. I mean, women in South Africa, so many women go to work, and chances of them coming back are very slim. Women, not only women, but in general, people live with, not all people, but sometimes people are involved in toxic relationships. We would think that people come to happy homes, but little do we know that before the one person goes to bed, before they can even get a plate of food, they need to receive a beating. So my word of advice for everybody, both males and females, I think we need to take accountability. Equality needs to be for both males and females, and no one is better than the other. Superiors need to be taken, actions need to be taken, and I think we just need to respect each other. We need to know why we are on this earth, and we just need to make life a bit easier, whether it's in a working environment, informal environment, formal environment, in terms of outings and everything. Everyone just needs to be decent with one another, respect one another, but I do not encourage being silenced, because keeping quiet is just you hurting yourself and shielding the perpetrator. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to say these words: speak up, speak up, speak up, speak up. I believe that is the message for the day from Royan. And I also like the fact that you believe that both genders need to take part in this, because I believe that if the other gender takes part, it indicates that they're actually participating and agreeing that women needs to be part, women needs to be protected, and they will stand by us. Thank you very much, Van Royen. Our next speaker is Soma Njie. She's a quality education. The quality education, which is SDG4, is very important for the economic growth of any country. Mrs. Njie, do you think these countries forgo economic growth by the denial of education for girls and women? In some African countries like Rwanda.
Thank you for having me back. Sorry, I was having difficulty switching screens. Yes, thank you so much for everybody who's spoken before. I think it's given so much food for thought for the focuses that we pin our life's work on, and I think it's given me a wonderful new perspective actually on what I was going to say. So if you bear with me just a moment while I just gather my thoughts just a little. Yes, I think with quality education, it's of vital importance. In fact, to fail to provide young girls and women with an education is not just a let's say, it's not just denying them the education, it forgoes economic growth. Education is not just a fundamental right, it's a catalyst for national development, and it's in so many different ways that it grows who we are and how we are. Financially, of course, the statistics are there for us at all levels, legislative. If we cannot articulate ourselves in the same languages as the power brokers, how are we to put our spin on life? How are we to put how we raise our children? our bodily autonomy into our cultural being. I think it's the way that we invest in our continent's future. Whilst I have the great fortune of parents who valued a formal education and did that for not only their own children, but others who they helped raise, I've come to realize as a career lawyer that in fact, whilst the communication strategies that the legal world gave me were all important, the understanding my culture, understanding my heritage, and understanding my voice through mindset understanding has awoken more passion in me. It's helped me help others in a way that an income as a lawyer could never do. It's helped me raise platforms such as Fashion Weekend Gambia, where we can bring those who formal education either was denied to them or wasn't their strength to be able to express themselves in other ways, to be able to put forward their heritage and things like sustainability in ways that will inform future generations. And I think that that's something that is taken away when a child is removed from society at an age where, again, one of my speakers had said before, they haven't even been able to form who they are. I think that this socialization is an important part of us as human beings, and is something that if we're denying women and girls, we're denying more than half of our population and those who are at the front line in raising our children and future generations the chance to better inform and better support the families that are being raised. I think statistically, just 1 year of increased female education, for example, can raise a country's GDP by almost 0.5 percentage point. It sounds like a small amount, but when you think that there's 12 years of education, 12 points of GDP, a percentage raise is an economy, an economic sort of fountain of growth. Again, it needs to go beyond just providing access to education. Like one of the previous speakers had said about safe spaces, we need to create an environment where women and girls can feel empowered. And in doing so, they can pursue their dreams. This is where this mindset coaching that I'm talking about so much becomes crucial. And it helps young women overcome these limiting beliefs that seem so inbuilt into some of our social norms, to help us pick apart those cultures that are serving us as human beings, as a human race, and are not. I think that that's highly important. Sorry, if you could repeat the second. I was so overwhelmed with the being so well informed by everyone around me that I'm a little distracted.
No problem. Yes, there's a second question. In some African countries, like Rwanda, have 60% women representation in parliament.
Mm-hmm.
South Africa also has a good women representation, but we find that it has a high gender-based violence rate. How can we ensure that the representation translates to female citizens having better treatment, equal opportunities, and respect? And what advice would you give to a young woman and men how best they can engage to foster equality?
Okay, so that's 2 in 1. Absolutely. I think representation is something that I've had a lot of personal experience in. My legal journey and my human rights journey here in the Gambia has definitely been coloured by that. I have the great privilege of having an older sister of mine to be one of the 3 out of 58 National Assembly members who is a woman. And when I think of how prevalent female decision-making is in families, I think it's wrong that our governance structures are so badly represented. As for the Rwandan disparity, I think is a wonderful act in order to bring up the representation. But as we spoke to before, representation is not the same as action, is not the same as effectivity. And I think that that is an awful symbol of that fact. I think that the fact is that it's not just simple representation that makes a woman's voice effective in seats of power. It is, again, I think I'm a little biased, but it's a mindset problem. What we need to do is we need to unpack the reasons behind these high instances of violence, why women are unable to speak out, why there are not sufficient support systems available when the worst happens, and why this pattern is emerging. As they say, it's not an African problem. This is a human problem. And this is something that I would be incredibly proud if it became something that we were able to solve as a Pan-African problem in order to have a blueprint for the world to follow. I think that our cultural norms against popular Western media culture are actually very feminist. I'm a Muslim, and the Muslim religion itself, excuse me with my alarms going off there, is a highly feminist structure. It's interpretation that is often so damaging to women. And because we do not have the legal representation or the legal follow-ups that provide us with the protections that we are promised, we fall foul of cultural misappropriation that leads to these high rates of incidents, and the impunity that perpetrators of violence against women and children enjoy. And this is something that is one of my life's missions, to ensure that we at least do some of the work for removing those building blocks, to ensure that if not removed from the problem, that they certainly will not act with such little visibility. And one of the ways that we saw that was in the awful ways that the female genital FGM Act was so casually, it seems, tried to be dismantled by a National Assembly member and certain actors in the country. When I see things like this, it makes me proud that as a Gambian, we were able, as a united force, to be able to put paid, but it really reminds us of the work that's still necessary to ensure that our work is consistently done and effectively done, to make sure that those behind us with less of a voice or with less protections than we who are here today and here as part of a sisterhood and a brotherhood protected enjoy. So my advice, moving on from there, is yes, representation and education. Again, I think I'm repeating the words of one of my sisters who came before me. Action is necessary, is pertinent, is vital in every area of life. Awareness of who we want to be and acting on that is vital. Those coming up behind us, who do you want to be? What kind of world do you want to leave? To really sit on that vision, to not rest on your laurels once you've solidified that vision, and to not rest until you've done your work, which is actions day by day of doing that work, of making sure that we're not going to jump one day. I'm not going to say, today I'll be president, and that's my aim. What it is every day to live in those actions, to not fall for these, cheap parlor tricks. If I'm put in a position of power, to make sure that I remember what it was like to be disempowered, and to not put my potential and my gains, my personal gain, ahead of what should be our legacy. To put legacy first, and that's my advice.
Thank you. Yes, I fully agree with you. Thank you very much. I stand by one needs to understand your true identity. I think that is quite powerful. It's very important. And representation is not an effectivity. You know, it needs to be impactful. It needs to be put into action, and we need to implement it. Implementation must be done, not just women sitting there, but they must have impactful and effective impact on decision making and implementation thereof. Thank you very much. Our next speaker would be, can you pull that up? Ruth Kurube Umobe. Speaker, as a development practitioner and youth advocate, how would you define women and girl empowerment? Though you have worked in international spaces, we would really love to hear and learn from your experiences as a woman in Kenya. How was growing up as a woman in Kenya? And do you think that Kenya has progressed when it comes to women empowerment? What advice would you give to a young girl or woman in an abusive situation? Be an abusive relationship or being in deny education just on the basis of being a woman? We can break that down as answer the question.
Good. In fact, it's Ruth Kerubo. I know my name is quite hard.
Sorry.
Kerubo. Kerubo Omobe. But it's
Omobe.
okay. I understand. So
Sorry
yeah,
about that.
no problem at all. So yeah, as a business practitioner, the first question is, as a business practitioner and youth advocate, how would you define women and girls empowerment? As I had said previously, that women and girls empowerment is a process of basically equipping women and girls with the knowledge, skills, and resources and opportunities to make informed decisions about their lives so that they can contribute meaningfully to the society. Okay, and then I had previously said it's all about dismantling systemic barriers that limit their potential to ensure equal access to education, economic opportunities, healthcare, and leadership positions. So having worked at the International Organization for Migration as an youth advocate on climate mobility as an administrative assistant, I have witnessed firsthand on how migration, displacements, and climate disproportionately affect women and girls. So empowerment, therefore, to me, it means it must be holistic. And when I say holistic, it must address education, just as Soma had said previously. It must address economic independence, legal rights, and protection from gender-based violence. So when women are empowered, the entire community will automatically benefit from the increased economic growth, from improved health outcomes, and also from stronger governance structures. So this empowerment goes beyond policies. So if we have policies and which are just policies, and they don't, this empowerment, they don't go beyond those policies, it means we are not doing anything about women being empowered. So it is, this requires cultural and societal shifts that challenges deeply rooted gender norms. It means ensuring that women and girls have a voice and agency. So, and this means it's the ability to influence decisions that affect their lives, and fear of discrimination. So as a youth advocate, I believe that there should be mentorship programs, leadership trainings, and community engagement, which play critical roles in fostering this empowerment at grassroots levels. So question number 2, though you have worked in international places, we would love to hear and learn from your experiences as a Kenyan woman, and how was growing up as a woman in Kenya. And do you think that Kenya has progressed when it comes to women empowerment? Yes, growing up as a woman in Kenya has been both challenging and inspiring. Just like many other young girls, I have seen barriers that limit women's progress, gender-based discriminations, which have limited access to leadership opportunities in Kenya. However, I've been very fortunate enough to, work in these international organizations whereby I have engaged in international policies that promote gender equality. So Kenya Constitution, the 2010 Constitution, has made significant progress in empowering women. And basically this, our 2010 Constitution, it has introduced key reforms, including the two-third gender rule, which seeks to increase women's presentation in leadership. So additionally, more girls are now enrolled in schools, of which, with the greater advocacy, of course. And I was also once SDG 4 advocate. I'm still an SDG 4 advocate, and therefore these advocacy programs have made more girls to be enrolled in schools, and also we have greater awareness about gender-based violence. And then programs supporting women's entrepreneurship and financial independence have also increased. And we have a bank called, is it What Women's? Something to do with women's, which helps women to be financially independent. So if a woman is financially independent, then it means that empowered, they can take loans, do their own businesses, and the cases of gender-based violence probably can decrease. We still have challenges. Challenges are still there, and cultural norms are still in place, and in many sectors, more so in the rural areas. Like some 2-3 days ago, we had an incident in Kenya whereby a woman was being battered because she had refused to bury her husband. So you can imagine caning a woman publicly just because she has refused to bury her husband due to some cultural norms. Yes, they're still in place. So gender-based violence, we have wage gaps and underrepresentation in decision makings. They continue to hinder full gender equality, where women, especially in the marginalized communities, still struggle to access economic opportunities and healthcare. Like in the northern parts of Kenya, we still have women who can't access healthcare due to some cultural norms. So yes, I admit that in Kenya we've made strides, but true empowerment requires continuous efforts. So strong implementation of gender-focused policies, community-driven advocacies, and societal mind shifts. Once they are in place, then I believe we can make more progress on ensuring that we do not have that women are empowered and we do not have gender-based violence. So question number 3, what advice would you give to a young woman or a girl in an abusive situation, be it an abusive relationship or being denied education just on the basis of being a woman? So first of all, I want to let you guys know that when we talk about abusive relationship, it can be physical, it can be emotional, it can be psychological. So to any young woman who is in an abusive relationship, you're not alone. I've been there once. And all you can do, the first thing is try and seek help. Identify a trusted person. If you're a young girl who is going to school, you can confide in a teacher, community leader, or you can also seek help from organizations that can support you. A good thing right now, we have counseling services. You can seek help from professional counselors, and also you can seek help from legal practitioners such as Soma here. So once you've noticed that you're being abused emotionally, physically, or psychological, kindly seek help. That should be your first step. And then do not stay silent. Your safety and well-being should be your priority. Yeah. So make sure that you're not silent, and then seek help. So for girls being denied education due to gender discrimination, remember that education is a right. It is your right. It is my right as a woman to get educated, and it's not a privilege. If you think your community, or if you feel that your community is hindering you from getting educated, seek for scholarship and mentorship programs, or support groups that advocate for SDG 4, that is quality education, or advocate for girls' education. You can just go there and they can help you be educated. And then we have NGOs that nowadays we have lots of these NGOs that push the initiative dedicated to helping young women in accessing schooling despite the cultural and financial barriers. Like in Kenya, we have a school that basically takes the girls from the girls that don't want to undergo the FGM practices. So they take them and then they put them in the boarding school so that they can continue their education. So you can seek help from such organizations if they're in your country. So most importantly, believe in yourself. You are capable, strong, and deserving of every opportunity. Surround yourself with people who uplift you and empower you. So if legal intervention is necessary, I've said seek help. Soma is here. I think you can. I'm sure you are a legal practitioner that people can reach out to, and you can help them. Also when it's necessary, and when people are when women are they want to seek help from you. So do not hesitate to reach out to these legal practitioners and groups that can help you advocate for your rights. So over to you.
Yes.
Your name is also hard. I'm sorry.
Education is a right. Education is a right. Speak up and seek help. When one is empowered, the entire community will definitely benefit out of her. Thank you very much, Ms. Ruth. Our next speaker is Suad Atia Cashlaut. And the question is, our audience, if you have any questions or comments, kindly put them in the chat box. We'll get to it. We'll answer the questions after the speakers have spoken, all speakers. Also, the comments, we'll read them. Next question to our speaker is, we know that gender-based violence is one of the challenges faced by women. What other challenges are faced by women, especially those in Africa? In some instances, women aren't brave enough to volunteer themselves in leadership positions when they can. This may be so due to the culture of the work environment or community. How can we empower a woman with the urge and braveness required in leadership? What advice would you give to young girls with a dream to change the world for the better, just like you?
Okay, thank you. Hello again, everyone. The first question, what other challenges do women, especially in Africa, face past GBV? Women, I think the most challenges for the women in Africa face too many challenges, including limited access to education. This is the first point. Every time I mention about the education, because the education is the big challenges, or the access to education is the big challenge for women African. Okay. Also, we have early marriage. A lot of girls get married from maybe 14 years old and maybe 15 years old. Also, economy inequality. Also, we have in some country the economy is not equality, and you can say many women struggles to find good job or start their own business. Okay, to have the cultures praised educationally. Additionally, some communities still hold traditional beliefs that limit women rules in society. So, the main point or the main answer for this equation will be access to education and early marriage between the practice. This is the most problem. Even we have a good education for the girls, it will be to get a good job, to the economy it will be, inshallah, more than you can say quality and everything it will be okay. This is about the first question. And the second question you have to ask me, how can we empower women with the courage to take leadership positions? Actually, this is the most problem for the women, because other women sometimes afraid and scared from the men, and I can't to lead a big group or the huge group. So to empower women in the leadership, we must create safe and support environments where they feel field education and mentorship programs can help women develop and the confidence and the leadership skills also. Sharing success stories for the female, it's the most important every time when you have a good story for female having a good success and leadership
I think we're having network issues there.
the same challenges in a workplace. and the communities. It's very important. So I wanted to give you 2 points more important. It's the first one, the support. The second point, it will be for tell stories for the female leaders. This is thing it will be inspire more women to encourage to take this leader position. Okay, about the third question, you ask me, what advice would you give to young girls who dream of challenging the world? This is word, it will be the key word for any young girls in the world. It's not only in Africa or in any countries in the world. Believe in yourself every time and your dreams. Believe in your dreams also. Start small. No one start with the big step. Every time start with the small step. Learn every day. You must be never stop to learning. Every day you must be to learn and learn a new information, a new knowledge, anything. You must be to learn every day new things and never be afraid to speak up. Every time you must be to tell everyone anything you don't like it or something you dislike it because this is important for you and for your health and mental or for yourself especially. Okay, surround yourself with the supportive people every time. Follow people who's a positive. Never work with the people all the time. No, we can't do it. No, we are not super to do it. So every time you must be to surround yourself with the supportive people who encourage you to the challenges we come. You can also put with the patterns and the hard work. Not also you say I wanted to be the super. I wanna just weird. You must be too hard work. You can be great positive. Also remember your voice and action matter. This is will be follow you for the front. So the main point here I wanted to, or the main advice, believe in yourself and your dream every time, and also hard work. The hard work and learn every day a new thing. This is my point and my answer for this question. Thank you for listening to me, everyone.
Thank you very much. Believe in yourself. You are
believe in yourself.
And you are capable of fulfilling any duty or responsibility that is thrown at you. Women are powerhouses. We need to know and identify that and be aware of our capabilities as women out there. Thank you very much for that. I always say, when you strike a woman, you strike a rock. As a young advocate who has engaged in policy discussions with empowerment, I think it is important to educate young women and men on gender equality, women's rights, and women empowerment. I also believe that women empowerment and gender equality is a very important concept. And that is because of our experiences as women, what we get to be exposed to is very important. I would like to share something very quickly. I won't take long. I think I hope that you are on time. The main important thing with regards to educating young people on gender equality and women empowerment are the fact that it promotes social justice. Gender equality and women empowerment are essential. They are very important for achieving social justice. By educating young women, I love the fact that our speakers keep on saying women empowerment. Girl child need to be educated. We need to take them through training. They need to be exposed to information. By doing that, we can dismantle systemic barriers and prevent women from accessing equal opportunities, right? The second thing would be stereotypes and biases. One speaker talked about, so she said she doesn't want to be biased, but those things we need to talk about them and they're there. And education helps to challenge and change harmful gender stereotypes and biases that are often deeply ingrained in our cultures, our history, where we come from. The bias comes from there, and it's seen as a norm, but it needs to be talked about and brought up in conversations, because this can lead to a more inclusive environment where everyone is valued and respected, regardless of their gender. With regards to women empowerment and gender equality, this concept is very important because I believe that women empowerment and gender equality are fundamental human rights. We need to understand that, and every individual deserves to live with dignity. As the speaker said, as women need to live in a dignifiable manner, in a dignified way, and have equal opportunities regardless of our gender. This will also indicate for the process of societies that embrace gender equality, which tend to be more progressive and stable. And also, I believe that gender equality fosters a culture of mutual respect and cooperation. And once the man is involved in this conversation, mutual respect will come up and there will be cooperation, which is essential for societal processes, progress, so that we can move on as a society that believes in women empowerment and we can grow up together. And that's all for me. If there's any questions, Sakola Bulani, can you please check the chats if there's any questions and comments? I think they shared.
There's no questions, but I think, yeah, there's no questions. I think we can encourage some people to kind of ask some questions if they have one. Let's just open the platform for a while.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you can do that because there's nothing on the chat.
Okay, if you have, maybe you can put up your hand and share, comment, question, anyone? Going once, twice, gone, and in the absence of none, I would say be courageous because you're strong and you're a powerful queen. As I said before, when you strike a woman, you strike a rock. We are strong and bold enough to do the thing that we put our minds to. With these words, I also like to urge all participants to follow YALDA in all our social media platforms and register for our mailing lists for latest news on African developments. This is our YouTube channel. Kindly scan this with the phone, or you can take a picture and then scan it later so that you can follow us on our YouTube channel. And there's the QR code for them. There's a YouTube channel code up here. And then we have the others that can also be shared. Just a screenshot and then you can scan it with the phone later. That will be highly appreciated. This one is for the social media pages. Just with your phone, you can scan through our QR code. It will take you to the pages. You can download them. Also on the chat, you can just copy this and paste it somewhere and then later go through the links one by one. It will take you direct to our pages on the social media platforms. We also have a Telegram group there. You can also pop in there and follow the link. It will take you direct to our group. The next QR. And I would like now to take this moment and thank everyone, the audience and speakers, for your time and attendance.
Closing remarks.
Anything else you want to add? Is there any comments? In the absence of none, Valencia, is the screen that you need to add after this one?
I think those who are present, the speakers who are still there, they can give their closing remarks. Randomly, I'm not sure how you just decide to select.
Pardon?
Depending on how you select the speaker.
Okay, you can unmute your hand up. Someone here, you can unmute yourself and speak.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you so much for such a wonderful opportunity. Thank you for organizing such a powerful conference this fantastically empowering month. And it's easy to forget the importance of women in this sort of, in this and to hear sort of feminism just as a speech rather than as actions. But one thing that I really wanted to share that I forgot to mention earlier was voluntarism is one of the ways that I find I exercise my feminism in a very proactive and empowering way. It's given me the opportunity to have a lot of the jobs and a lot of the opportunities that have further empowered me and empowered my voice and put me forward in front of wonderful mentors who've been able to shape a lot of the work and the direction that I find myself in. Wonderful platforms such as Altogether Giving Africa, Fashion Weekend Gambia, and C3G, which is a cancer organization, ways that, and FLAG, Female Lawyers Association Gambia, are all platforms that I have actively taken a role in order to help me find my way in a way that allows me to follow footsteps of those who are more informed, also to have guidance when I'm a little lost in this journey, and to have ways where I can have the support that is very much needed, because it's a difficult journey and it's something where you do need a sisterhood and you do need someone sometimes to help lift you up when you're not feeling at your strength, at your most strong, in order to make these big changes that we're looking for in the world. So that was my last tuppence worth. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You reminded me of something very important. I believe that as a woman, as a girl child, as a lady, it's very important to also identify a mentor who will guide you, and also get yourself a sponsor, which is something that we hardly talk about. It's very important to have someone in one positions, whether they want to start an NGO, be connected with someone who has your absence, someone who will lift you up. Very important to have that type of people in your circle. Thank you very much. And is there any? I don't see any hands up. In the absence of none, I would say this is the end of our webinar. Valencia, anything else? I would like to thank everyone for making the time to be here. I like the fact that everyone is stayed up until now, which says a lot. Thank you very much for your time.
I'm not sure if we just still some speakers needing to give the closing remark. You can just admit a closing remark. We still have Dr. Lynn is still there. Ruth, Abigail, you can give your closing remarks. Ruth, Tamia, yeah, if you still want to give your closing, you can give your closing remarks.
Sure, I can go ahead and give my closing remarks. Okay, so let me start my video. Yeah, so thank you very much for insightful discussions herein. I can see we've been talking about women here. Yet we have lots of men in here. So what's your role as a man in these discussions? How then you should think on how you're going to empower a woman. This woman can be your sister, this woman can be your neighbor, this woman can be your, siblings, So think about it. In as much as, yes, we are talking about women, you men in here, I know you all have a role to play in the women's life. So empowering women is not just about creating opportunities, as we had said earlier. It's about ensuring that these women in our lives, they have tools, they have resources and support to thrive in every sphere of life. So as we reflect on our conversations, just as everybody has been talking about women empowerment, equality, rights, and also empowerment, let's commit to fostering safe spaces for women, amplifying their voices and advocating for gender equality and policies, education, and leadership. So the journey towards empowerment is collective. Yeah. And when I say collective, it means you as a man, you're also included in women empowerment. So each of us, including the men in this meeting here, we have a role in breaking the barriers and challenges and the challenging injustices and cultural norms that we have in our society. So if you're talking about FGMs, you still have a role in advocating against the FGM. Do not support FGM because those young girls, probably they'll go through the female genital mutilations and they'll be married off without necessarily having quality education. So to all young girls and women out there, never doubt your potential. Your voices matter, your dreams are valid, and your contributions are invaluable. So let us all continue striving towards a goal where every woman and girls can realize their full potential. And yes, that is it. Thank you for this space today. And I hope we meet again in our next International Women's Day celebrations. Over to you.
Thank you very much. That was beautiful. Any closing remarks?
Hi, everybody. So as we wrap up today's powerful gathering, I want to leave you with a few reflections, especially for the women and girls walking the tightrope of life's many demands. Every day we're given choices, and choices about how we show up, how we trust, what we tolerate, and how we build our futures. And one of the most radical acts of self-love is choosing yourself. And that sometimes means walking away from toxic people, those who dim your light, drain your energy, or make you question your worth. To protect your peace, you don't owe anyone access to your life if they come with chaos. And we must also talk about financial education and self-reliance, because true empowerment isn't just about emotional or political, it's also about economic. Money isn't just currency, it's power, freedom, safety, and choices. Learn it, master it, pass it on. Because when a woman understands her worth and her wealth, no one can use her vulnerability as a weapon. So to every woman and girl listening, own your story, choose your circle wisely, invest in yourself, and never apologize for rising. Because we're not born to be small, we're born to transform. Thank you, and keep building. Your future is yours to claim. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your future is yours to claim. Definitely is. Any closing remarks? If there is none, I would like to thank you for the long time, for taking the time and staying with us up until now. I am about to adjourn this meeting. May you have a good evening, good morning, or afternoon. Okay, no, Ms. Van Rooyen is here. Over to you, Ms. Van Rooyen.
I just wanted to say to Dr. Sheng and to Ruth, amen. That was powerful. And this is, I think we'll take it as a spiritual alignment. It's the word of the day, and not only for the day, but for the night and for the rest of the year, that women, we are powerful, we are who we are, and we just need to depend on ourselves, we need to trust ourselves, and we need to listen to our conscience, our gut. So as we said, as soon as you walk into the room, set your mark, stand your ground, and be firm, because the sky is the limit. Life is about taking risks, and sometimes we need to be bold, we need to be active, and we need to be noticeable. The more we voice our opinions and the more we speak out and let men know that, you know what, we have the right to life, we have the right to equality, we have the right to be protected and to be respected, that's when the men will know enough is enough. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Van Rooyen. Enough is enough. Let's occupy those spaces unapologetically so. Over to you, Ms. Obese.
Hello.
Over to
Hello.
you. Yes, you
Good
may
evening.
speak.
So sorry for I had a little challenges with my network, so I couldn't continue with my questions. But we all had a good time here. We learned a lot from each other, and I would like to say we should all continue to brighten every corner where we are. We should strive hard to achieve whatever we have set, and we shouldn't let our agenda as women limit us, because in Africa, if you're a woman, you try to pursue your education to a higher level, people will discourage you, right? They will say all kinds of things. You won't get a man to marry. Why are you furthering your education? What do you need all the certificates for? But once you have set that goal, you should try and achieve it, because that is your personal goals. And then Maslow's hierarchy of human needs, that self-actualization, right? So if you want to reach that level, you still have to strive hard to achieve whatever you have set. You don't have to let what people say or your environment limit you. You have to go beyond borders and then shine brighter. So thank you so much for this important session and giving me the opportunity to be a speaker in this webinar for the International Women's Day for YALDA. And thank all our speakers, our moderator, all our listeners for staying with us throughout this session. Okay, so we'll meet again, same time next year. Okay. You all have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good evening to you too. Good morning to those in the morning, and good afternoon to those who are having a busy day. Thank you, everyone.
Hi
And
again.
yes, you may
Hi
speak.
again, everyone. I'm just
Yeah.
sorry I was take my iftar because here we have Ramadan. So I'm so proud to meet all of you. I'm very proud to be a speaker with this session. Thank you so much, YALDA. I wanted to do it again and again. Thank you so much, everyone, to listen to me. Thank you. Thank you a lot.
You're
Have a nice day,
welcome.
everyone. Good night.
Thank you very much for availing yourself.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I think
Thank you so much. Ramadan Mubarak too, Suma.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye.